Hi, my name is Andre. Welcome to Geeky Girls Journal. Today I'm going to get right into this topic. Um, First, let me say that I'm glad to be back. It's good to see everybody again. And if you are coming in, and if you're going to watch this on repeat, please be sure to like this video and share it out with others so that they can also learn something. So I'm jumping right in today. Not going to waste any time. And I just wanted to ask you all a question. The title of this video, this live, is Yelling at Your Children in Public. Now, let me just start this conversation out by saying, initially, I was a little hesitant about doing this topic because I didn't know how people would take it. Hey, Jamia. Hey, and I'm going to acknowledge people in the chat, but if I miss your questions, your comments, bear with me, please. I got to get back into the swing of this, you all. You know I've been away for a little bit, so just give me some grace and we're going to make this happen. And I also, let me stick to this time limit, an hour or less. I don't want to hold everybody up. An hour or less. That's what we're going to do today. So let me get right into this, Jamie. Thank you for coming in. And thank the other three of you for coming in. I appreciate it. So I was out in public a few days ago, and this is what inspired this topic. Again, before I get started, make sure you like it and share this out because it's going to be helpful to a lot of parents, people that are not parents, that can also learn from this before they have children. And I want you all in the comment section, make sure you weigh in. Tell me what you think. I said bring your opinions. I meant that. So make sure you let me know. We're going to have a learning experience today, Jamia, and whomever else is here. Thank you for coming in. So this is a story. I'll start out with that. I was at this, it's a plaza. I was at this plaza a few days ago. You all know those plazas. They're really huge. They look like an outlet, but they're not quite an outlet. They just look like an outlet. So outlet-ish, but not an outlet. So there are multiple stores, lots of exits, lots of entryways that you can come in and out of. And I'm telling you all this just to kind of set the stage for the story. So I went to drop my daughters off for volunteering. And I thought to myself, hey, I have a couple errands to run. I'm going to do that while they're volunteering. I knew I had to drop a package off at Amazon for my husband. So I did that. I went into Amazon, which is in Kohl's, by the way. You all know how they had it. You know, the Amazon and Kohl's drop off. So I went in, left the package, and then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to sit in my vehicle and just take some time and relax. It was nice outside. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. I wanted to just chill, have some me time before it was time to pick my daughters up again. I actually had a book in my vehicle also that I planned to read. But that did not happen because I get easily distracted. So anyway, so what happened was I was sitting in my vehicle, and you know how you all can hear things in the distance. So I was sitting in the vehicle and I just heard a lot of yelling, like, just a lot of yelling. At first it was really faint, like really, really faint. And I was just, I was sitting there. The parking lot is quiet otherwise. It's very quiet. And it was not a lot of action. There were a lot of vehicles there, but just not a lot of commotion, not a lot of anything. That's why I chose to sit there and kind of be by myself. As a real dad, thank you for coming in, Eagles Tracker. As a real dad, I only had to give the look or call them by name. They know the sign. Now, see, that's something I need to talk about. Hi there, everyone. Hey, Ace, like everybody who's in, thank you for coming in. Now, as a real dad, you're a real dad. I'm a real mom. We have some real parents in here. So weigh in. I want to get to that because I really want to know what you all think about this. And again, I'm not here to be judgmental. I'm not. I'm just going to tell the story how it happened, and then everybody get their opinions, and then we'll get out of here, right? Because I know that this live is going to help somebody else. So just bear with me for a second. So yes, I agree with you though. And remember when we were younger, it was, you give that look. It's still like that in my house. I give my kids that look, and they already know. But if I had to take it a step further, most of the time I don't have to do what I'm going to tell you all happened in this parking lot. I've, in fact, never had to do that, and I hope that I would never have to. I have 5 kids, so let's see how this goes, you all. Yeah, my parents, they didn't say anything. They looked at me, and I knew better. I already knew. I knew what time it was. I knew not to say anything sassy. They didn't have to yell at us. In fact, my parents set the stage before I went in the store, before we went in public. Don't touch anything. Don't say nothing. Don't do. Who else has had that talk before? Put a 1 in the chat if you've had that conversation with their parents where they say, "Hey, don't touch anything. Hey, problem child, how are you? Don't touch anything. Be on your best behavior." I already knew that though because my parents did not play any games with us. I'll just say that they did not play. I knew. Be quiet. Stay in child's place. Don't test me. Don't touch anything. Don't get in the store and act brand new like you don't know what's happening because you already know it's about. So this is what happened, you all. I was in the parking lot and I heard the screaming, right? And I didn't know where it was coming from. Okay, Eagles checker, you had that. Okay, same thing here. So I didn't know where the noise was coming from. So I could hear it. And let me know if this music is too loud for you all. I'll put it down. I just kind of thought my parents didn't play the lay down the law. Yeah, mine laid down the law too. They said, hey, you already know. I already knew what the deal was because they didn't play at our house and they didn't play in public. So I didn't try them. So I was in the parking lot, you guys, and thank you, Jamia. Thank you, Jamia. Yeah, I was in the parking lot. And I heard this shouting. It was faint at first, but you know how you can hear it, but it's almost like an undertone too, where you can hear it, the yelling. And you're like, what is that? So I was sitting in my vehicle, minding my business because I do that, and I was sitting there, so it just got louder and louder. So I was looking around. I'm like, where is that coming from? Like, what is that? I knew it was a voice. I couldn't determine whose voice it was or it was male, female, whatever. So the person got closer. I'm in my parking space again, and then I finally hear the yelling gets, I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. I'm doing fine. I've had some time to rest and relax. I'll get to all that. Let me tell you all this story so you can, let me know how you feel about it, Ace. So I was parked, and then the car came up and pulled up probably about 10 spaces down from me at this point to my left. And the yelling got louder. So I looked over and I could see this female in the driver's seat. And she was yelling. And I couldn't tell initially who was in the vehicle with her. I could just hear a lot of loud yelling. And I'm like, wow, she must have had a bad day. And again, I don't know what happened before I heard the yelling because I was not with this person. So I don't know what kind of day she was having. I don't know what her mindset was. It could have been anything because, sometimes it only takes one thing to, take you there. But I was just more so concerned. But let me finish the story. So she was yelling, and then finally I saw this little head pop up. So it was a child, and I saw two small children in the back seat of the vehicle, and she was just yelling, and I mean going in. So I was like, wow, I hope everything is okay, but also it's not my business. If you're a parent, you can understand this. You raise your child the way you raise your child. I raise my child the way I do, and I don't have the authority unless I see something happening that's irresponsible, abusive, and it's still not my place to jump in, and that is for the authorities to handle. That's not for me to handle. But I didn't see that happening at the moment. I just heard a lot of yelling. So this lady, whom I learned later on was a female, and there were two children in the car. So she's sitting there yelling for probably a good, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden I saw this car just zoom off, right? So it was a vehicle that she was in, and she just zoomed off. And it was weird because in the parking lot, you had the exits. So there were probably on the side I was on about 10 exits or more. So she was kind of going in and out of the exits. And if I remember correctly, she may have ran a couple stop signs because she started driving erratically at this point. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Like at this moment, I'm thinking, I hope, that she's being safe and that she's not going to do anything that can harm somebody else. So I saw her also going in and out the parking lot like this. And then she came back around, not to the parking section that I was in, but maybe 4 or 5 ahead in front of me. And she parked there. And then, how they don't pull in straight. They just kind of do a diagonal park. So she did that and then got out and she was yelling at the kids. Ah! And then the child got out the back seat, walked around the back of the vehicle and went to the passenger side, but the back seat of the passenger side. And then I was thinking, is she putting the baby out? I hope not. So that didn't happen, thank God. So she came back out and talked the child into getting back into the vehicle. But when she did it, she was like really going in, and she had some choice words. I will not repeat them on here because they're inappropriate in my opinion. So she was like really lighting into this baby. And the next thing I know, she's like yelling, get in the car right now. And just really, really, at this point, you can tell she was upset, stressed, whatever it may have been, jumped back in the car and just started zooming off, weaving back in and out of the parking lot. And I'm looking like, I'm just praying like, Lord, please don't let anybody get hurt. Please, help her to calm down. And if for nothing else, she has to be safe. The children in the vehicle have to be safe. If you want to drive erratically like that, first of all, not driving erratically like that. You shouldn't be driving like that because you don't know who you could hurt. You can hurt yourself. You can hurt the individuals in your vehicle, and you can hurt somebody else who's in the parking lot if you're driving at the speed she was driving and she was also going in and out of the parking spaces. So my question is this for you all, and again, I'm making it quick. How do you react to your children? Because I heard her say something along the lines of, "You're not getting it." Like, I know maybe it was something that they wanted in the store and she didn't want to give it to them. She probably spoke to them a couple times. "Hey, Marlene, how you doing?" She probably spoke to them several times. You know how it goes. If you're a parent, you might say, "No, you're not getting." The child says, "Hey, can I have it?" You say, "No, you're not getting." "Hey, can I have it?" And it could go on and on if you don't nip it in the bud. So maybe it was one of those situations where she did that. I mean, I was not a part of the conversation before. I was not with her, so I don't know what happened. But what I'm saying is, as a parent, it makes me think about some of the situations I've been through with my children. And, this is not one of those scenarios where you can just like say it's a one size fits all thing. I understand that because sometimes if your child is doing something, misbehaving, I believe it is your job to correct the child as a parent. This may not be a popular opinion for some because I've seen a lot of things with positive parenting. I've seen things where people say, don't correct your child, just let them do whatever. Now, I am in the middle of that somewhere. I'm not at don't correct the child because I believe in correcting the child. I believe that I am not my child's friend. I'm their parent. Although I have very good relationship with my children, I like to communicate with them. I talk to them, and my approach may be a little bit different than that mom's. But I was just wondering, how do you all feel about them? When you get stressed, and if you're having a bad day, what do you think? Is it appropriate to yell at that child, or how do you speak to that child? Marlene says, I don't have kids, but I take care of special needs kids. You have to be patient, but not yelling. I agree, Marlene. And I realize this as a parent. I have 5. I know that sometimes you may not have that patience. I know that sometimes you may be drained because you had a long day. I understand that sometimes you may have asked that child 10 times to do something and they may not have responded because sometimes that they have selective hearing. Sometimes we have selective hearing as adults, right? It's not just about children having selective hearing. Sometimes you tune people out. I tune people out. So I know. Full support, great topic. Thank you, Andre. Yeah, sometimes you may just tune that person out because you may not want to hear what they have to say, or you may hear that voice so much. Like if you have a parent that yells all the time, they may be accustomed to them yelling. As I said again, I don't do that with my children, or I try not to. I'm not perfect, so I'm sure that it's happened before, but what I try to do is try to be cognizant of my voice tone. And I try to remember I was a child before and I don't want to snap on them, because a lot of times it's just something that you can talk your way through. And that's what I found myself doing a lot of that, you guys. My parents, they just set the tone. It was children are to be seen and not heard. And that was it. They asked you a question, you answered, right? It wasn't no talking back. It wasn't I want it, and then you go back and forth. No, it was none of that. With mine, I try to communicate more. I try to figure out what's happening, what's the issue, what's the problem. Let's talk about it. And I am going to discipline you. And I'm not saying physically, I'm saying correcting my children because I believe that God's placed me in their life for a reason. If I see something that's being done the wrong way or inappropriately, then I will call somebody on it. Now, I also praise my kids. Hey, you did a wonderful job. I love how you did this. I love how you did that. Thank you for talking to your sister that way. Thank you for helping your sister. Right now, my kids are cooking for me. Thank you for cooking. They are helping me out because I'm having a live talking to you all. Sometimes I need to walk away or will snap. Yes, if your child needs a smack, I support a smack. I think I spanked my 2 kids one time each. And that's really good because I know when I was growing up, there was a lot of those spankings going on. There was a lot of spankings happening. Marlene said, hi, my parents. It was a dictatorship. I wasn't in a space I could communicate. Yeah, I hear that, Marlene. And I think probably people from our generation can relate to that. I am in the 80s child range, the end of the 70s, and that was the same. No, you do what I say because I'm the parent. And while I fully support that, I also know that my children have feelings. My children, they may be having a bad day, right? They may be having a bad day. I have bad days. And I remind myself of that as a parent. Not everything is going to be perfect all the time. And how can we work through this situation? If we're in a store, for example, and my kids don't do this often, like I don't really remember, and maybe it's because they usually get a lot compared to what I used to get when I was younger. But if they ask if I want to give it to them, I give it to them. If I don't have the money at the moment, or if I just don't want to give it to them because they don't need it, then I just don't do it. But I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to demean them in public. I try to be considerate of their feelings. And sometimes I feel like that gets lost. And it may get lost within that communication with whatever that specific topic is. And again, it can get lost because somebody's having a bad day. It can get lost because you're miscommunicating. And it might also get lost because the parent may feel like it is a dictatorship. I tell you how to jump, you say how high. Who remembers that? Jump, how high do you jump? How about I tell you to jump? So let me get over here. My parents, kids need dictatorship until a certain age, just like a wife. Okay, I think you're trying to get me worked up. I'm not gonna let you do it. Are you trying to test me because I said that I don't yell and I don't get upset? Eagles, I'm not gonna even let it bother me. You see that? No sweat. I just right off my shoulders. And I know it's funny. I know you're trying to be funny. So do as I say. Marlene said, I don't believe in that. Children have feelings too. They should be asked what they like to. Hi, PNC. Hi, Jamie. Yep, I believe that they should be asked. But I also believe, Marlene, that they shouldn't get. Okay, see, because this is going to be. We're talking real, right, parents? Those of you that are parents and those of you who have been around children, let's just make this conversation as real as it can get. So I do believe that you should ask them how they feel, because like I said, they have feelings. We have feelings. So they're human as well. Why do we feel like they don't have feelings? And also, why is it that some people feel like they can just talk to children any way they want to, and not damage that child in a particular way? Can't chat much here working. Oh, thank you, Proud. That's okay. Official Jamie says, oh, Eagles Trekker said, Trekker, you're in the Army child boot camp. Sorry, hold on. Let me go back up so I can see what Trekker says here. You're in the Army child boot camp. Sorry, but kids need more discipline. Now, okay, so it depends on what kind of discipline you're talking about, Eagle. Can you elaborate a little bit? Like, because some people define discipline a different way. I may define discipline different than you. Marlene may define it differently. And that I say that words have different meanings to different people. So when you say discipline, kind of loosely tell us what you mean without, telling it all. Like if you don't feel comfortable answering that question, just kind of, let us know without incriminating yourself if there's such a thing. I don't think it's illegal to talk about this because we're having an open conversation. So he says you're in the Army, and let's see what Marlene said. I never yelled at my kids in public. I tried my best to communicate with my kids before we go to places so they knew not to act up. Same here, Jamie. Like, I think I set the tone, but I didn't necessarily have to set it before we went into the store or each time before we go into the store, because I think my kids know that I'm really honest with them and I'm upfront, and I just tell them, hey, you know how to behave at home, you know what to do when you go to the store. So I don't really have to have that conversation. So I'm like you, I've never had to yell at my kids in public. I do not wish to yell at them in public. In fact, if I ever come to that point where I had to, I don't really know how I would handle myself. I'm really a passionate person, and I am one of those who also like to get my point across, and I also like to make sure that there's clarity and that people understand. I believe that if I were in public like that lady was, I would wait, is what I'm saying. I think I would wait until I got in the vehicle, put the windows up, and talk to them. I still wouldn't yell, because what are you getting? How productive are you being if you're yelling? Like, are you really communicating, and is that person really listening to you? Because now they feel like you're just yelling. Now it's more of a I'm yelling at you because I can type thing. Or are you trying to understand? Are you making it a teachable moment? Or are you just trying to yell because you're frustrated now, because you didn't like the way they reacted And what I know is this: we cannot control we cannot control what somebody else does, but you can control your actions. And I try to control my actions as much as possible. I try to use my words wisely. I try to talk to my kids and anybody for that matter in a loving manner. So also, I like to try to think about what I'm saying before I say it. Now, it doesn't happen that way all the time. Sometimes it can come out, but for the most part, I know how to use my words, and I like to say things that will build people up, not to tear them down. So if I ever feel like I'm in a situation where I have to yell at my children, I'm not going to do it in public. I'll wait until I get into the vehicle and talk to them in the tone that I'm talking to them in, or I'm going to wait until we get to our house. Now, the reason I asked that is because you all remember when we were younger, or now, because some parents probably feel like that now. Do you feel like, because I've heard this before, don't wait until you get to, another location, but to scold or to correct your child right then and there? What do you think about that? Do you think you should correct them right then and there? Because how do you know how you might react? You might start screaming, you might start yelling. That mom might not have known that she was going to react that way. I don't know. Like, maybe she thought it was going to be an easy breezy conversation. Don't touch it. I told you not to do it. I told you no, whatever it was. But maybe she just blew up, and maybe she was just in the mood. She could have been in the mood that day. I don't know what happened. I'm just using hypothesis, I'm just trying to formulate different situations to get you to gauge you all. Can't chat much. Okay, proud. So yeah, what do you think? Within reason, respect is earned. Okay, Marlene. And Proud says, no discipline or structure has some parents letting their kids run the house. A portion of youth is out of control. Now, I have to agree with that, Proud. You're right. Now, that's why I say, as a parent, we definitely should correct our children. Now, I'm not saying yelling. I'm not even saying that you have to, pop or whatever it is. I'm just saying you got to discipline them. There has to be some type of correction, because if you don't correct the wrong or the mistake or the misbehavior, it's going to just continue. They're going to think it's okay to do it, and then you're going to have another shouting match on another day, or you're going to be embarrassed, or you're going to be saying, trying to set the tone, and they're like, wait a minute, you always let me get away with this. What's the problem now? So yes, there has to be some structure. There has to be discipline. You have to correct them. And another thing, and let me ask you all this: do you all think that some parents are afraid to discipline their kids now? And I want to be quiet for a second. Do you think, is a question, do you think some parents are afraid to discipline their children? And I'm going over to the comment section while you all think about that. Let's see what equals. Really depends on the age of the child. Toddlers, infants, or young ones. They all need different approaches. Absolutely. Yep. It's not a one size fits all. Toddlers, you have to speak to them differently. Infants, definitely different. Obviously, I have all different age groups. I have toddler, I have young children, I have middle school, high school, adults. So I agree with you. In each level is different. It's a different form of communication. You can't the baseline is still the same. When you speak to them in love, you try to get an understanding, you try to communicate your thoughts and allow them to, but it's also done in a different approach. Like, I talk to my eldest daughter differently than I would talk to her differently than I would talk to my 4-year-old, or I would talk to my middle schooler differently. So absolutely, I think the age, depending on the age, you kind of tweak it accordingly, right? It's 6:24. Okay, how are you all doing? I said about 7. I'm not gonna hold you. I don't believe in hitting with instruments, but some kids don't respond to talking. And you know what? That is correct. Now, let me tell you all something. I do not believe in hitting with instruments. I don't hit with anything. I use my words, and for me, I thank God I have not had to do that. I usually talk to my kids, and I get some resolve. I get an understanding with them, and they are still respectful. They are still respectful. They respect me. I don't have issues with them really getting out of step when they do. With my little ones, I just get right down to their level and look them in the eyes, and then I tell them, hey, but we talk about it. But what do you think you did wrong? How can we change this? And I tell them what they need to do, and I'm just honest. I'm just honest about it. I do the same with my older girls. We can talk about it, and of course, if they have a question, I answer it. Like, I feel like if they're old enough to ask me certain things, I'll tell them. I'm honest about it. But also, if I need some correction, if correction has to be made, it's going to be made. And I believe that I'm the best person, the parents, my husband and I are the best person that is going to come from, because we love them unconditionally. And what I'm going to say is going to always be in love. It's going to always be to help you become a better person. It's going to always be to help you to elevate. It's never anything that's going to demean you and hurt your character and make you feel like you're less than. That's not what I do. Hey, Tamika Davis, how are you? Good to see you, Tamika. Once again, a raised voice is all I need. Yep. Eagle, that's all you need sometimes. See what Eagle said, everybody? A raised voice is all you need. And, that's all. A raised voice or just a change in tone, right? Or little eye action, like you said. Parents had that look. See? Got that look. So we can tell all you do, you have a look. And if you're not a person who has a look, because I've heard some people say, I just can't, I have a hard time disappointing them, or I have a hard time looking at them, or whatever it is. Well, you're a parent. It's your job. Okay, see, I had to look. Okay. See, it's your job to make sure your children are safe and that everything is all right. So I think that there has to be some form of discipline, some form of correction. And can you all hear me okay? I feel like I'm in and out. Okay, it's tough for sure. You have to be careful the way you raise your kids. Being aware of their surrounding is vital. They can change fast. Discipline at home is key. You need to be understanding and aware. I agree. Definitely aware. Andre, especially with all these different forms of social media, trying to track your kids, trying to find out where they've been social media wise, and trying to keep up. That's a task in itself. And just trying to make sure that you can filter out as much as you can. It depends on what you're comfortable with your children seeing, is what I say. So with me, I try to filter as much as I can, and I'm very watchful. I'm usually on top of it. I ask questions if I hear something in the background and I'm not really on top of that particular thing. I ask questions. I'm just like all in your business, and there's no such thing to me as being too much in their business, because why not? That's what I'm supposed to do. I need to know what's happening. I need to know that they're safe. Call me call me protective, call me whatever you want to do. But that's what I do. Marlene says, my dad would talk to me, but my mom only yelled. Now I understand she was overwhelmed and needed a break. Yeah, Marlene, I think we do see things differently as we become older, don't we? Because I definitely did. Sometimes I thought that my parents, and sometimes, all you gotta do is like put your hand on your child's shoulder. Sometimes that's all you gotta do. But sometimes when I was younger, I can remember saying, when I get older, I'll be doing this. When I get older and I have kids, I'm gonna do this. And then, lo and behold, I turned into both my parents. Some of my theories are different. Some of my thinking is a little different. I tweak some things, but I understand why they were tired, like you said, when they were overwhelmed, why they needed breaks. I definitely get all that, because kids can be exhausting. They require a lot. mentally, physically, because you're running here, there, everywhere. I know. I came in from running somewhere to try to jump on this live, and I was like, I hope I'm on time. I was just thinking I'm not gonna be on time. And then I had to count down on my kids. I was like, I got 5 minutes left, 10 minutes left. So, thank God they are old enough. They helped me. They chipped in, made the food, and hey, daughter. So, so when you can become overwhelmed as a parent, and maybe the lady was overwhelmed. I've been there before. Some of you have probably been there before. Maybe she was overwhelmed and needed a break and couldn't get a break. And she may have just taken it out on those in her vehicle. That happens. Like I said, nobody's perfect, and I don't expect perfection. I'm just having this conversation because I'm hoping that with having this conversation with you all, it can help another parent along the way to say, hey, you're not the only one that goes through this. Here are some things that we do, that I do, that you all do over here that can help, whomever is watching this video. So that was my main goal in trying to do this. What is it that you do to, in fact, if you have some extra tips that you can share with somebody who is going to be watching this. I'll put it up on the screen, and then I'm trying to keep up with the chat, you all. Trying to keep up with the chat. So Eagle said, my daughters are 17 and 19 and respect how their old dad raised them. Well, good. That means you did a wonderful job. All right, good job, Eagle. I must go, Geeky Girls Journal. Stay safe and blessed. Take care of them. Oh, all right, Proud. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Great conversation, Geeky. Hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you, Eagles. And take care, Proud Mixed Child. Oh, okay. Okay, what do you all think? I'm not caught up. Sorry. You all know I'm terrible at the chat. I'm terrible at the chat. It's 6:31. How are we doing? See you later, PMC. I was born in 72. My sweet mother took the belt and wooden spoon shoes, yet I love and respect her more now than ever and thank her. Yep. Same. Yep. I'm thankful for my parents. Hey, Miss Betty. Hey, how you doing? Hey, baby girl. I saw the end of your live today. I just couldn't come in. I was in the bushes because I was doing something with the children, but I was there listening. I saw you in warm, strong. So thank you for coming in, Miss Betty. I'm talking about discipline, yelling at your children. I was in this public setting and I heard a parent, or she may not have been the child's parent. She may have just been an adult with children yelling at children. I just wondered, what everybody's thoughts were on that. Yes, I miss you all. Hey, if you all get a chance, can you do the poll? Because I'm interested to see how you all feel about that poll. I think I asked the question, do you yell at your children? And I kind of get the idea of what most of you will probably say right here. I know I miss you all too, Miss Betty. I do. I've been vacationing. Girl, you look so relaxed. I am. You see, I did something different to my hair, everybody. And I was just relaxing and trying to pull myself together, trying to get a break, a much needed break. Like Marlene said, sometimes parents, we get exhausted. We just need to just pull ourselves away. Well, at least I do. I'm speaking for myself. I can't speak for anybody else here, but I just need to be able to pull myself away, try to figure out what my next steps are with YouTube, how I'm going to schedule, how I'm going to do it, and school will be starting soon. And it just feels like the summer just zipped right past me. I was able to visit some family, and that was really good for me. I was able to get away and spend some time with my husband. So yeah, I had a good time. And then I was like, whoa, I haven't uploaded any real videos in like a month. So I need to get it back started. So I'm back. A lot of parents do nothing. Yes. Okay. That's what thank you for bringing that back up, Eagle. So yeah, a lot of parents do nothing. Miss Betty, how do you feel about that? Because you have a lot of wisdom over there, Big Mama. What do you think about that? Big Mama Toss. I saw a gnat or something in my house. So yeah, a lot of parents do nothing, and then they wonder why that child is misbehaving. They wonder why that child is acting the way or reacting when the parent says something. So I know it's hard. Trust me, parenting is a lot of work. Parenting takes patience. Marlene said it earlier. It takes patience. It takes love. A lot of love. Let me tell you, every time I was pregnant, I asked for more patience. I did, because I felt like, Lord, I don't want to snap off on people. I don't want just snap and pop, snap, crackle, and pop, right? I just want to be able to control myself and be able to speak in a tone that I'm understood, be able to articulate myself so that, there's clarity, and to have understanding. And like I said, I have not been perfect at doing that, but I'm getting better and better. And hopefully those of you that are listening can relate to this. And Miss Betty said, hey, Andre Southgate. And Andre said, hey, Miss Betty. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Mommy. Not Mommy Dearest Eagles. No more wire hangers. Is that what Mommy Dearest? Now, see, since you brought it up, I wasn't going to do it, but Mommy Dearest and Flowers in the Attic. You don't want mamas like that, do you? Yeah, you don't want a mommy like that. And I had my kids watch both of those movies, and they were like, and I said, see, aren't you glad you have a good mama? So, Mommy Dearest and Flowers in the Attic. If you have not seen it, look at it. Because what was her name? Eagles, Joan Collins. She did her thing with that movie. I think her name was Joan Collins. Tamika, do you know? I don't yell at my kids in public. Yep, neither do I, Tamika. I don't yell at mine in public. I know some people who say, I'm going to do it right there in public. I mean, I don't know them personally. I've seen people throughout my life, and especially when I was younger. Oh my goodness, there was a lot of yelling in public when I was around. And Official Jamie, you see what she said? Hey, Betty. Hey, Miss Betty. And Official Jamie said, hey, Tamika. Sound is good. Thank you, Southgate. Oh, I must be so far behind. I know you did that a long time ago. Tamika Davis. Let me go through these, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hey, Mr. Steve, how you doing? Thank you all for coming in. I'm going to go down to Andre Southgate's comments. So I'm not skipping over you all. I see you. I recognize everybody's here. Thank you so very much for coming in and chat with me, you all, because I was a little nervous. I was like, I hope people come because, you're not around or you don't share a face for a minute. Sometimes, I mean, it's my guess that sometimes, your audience might shift a little bit, and I can understand that because you don't know if the person's coming back, or what happened. So let me get to Andre Southgate. Yelling is out of your control at times. Words are powerful. Though the last thing any kid wants to hear is verbal abuse. The words you choose is very important. Kids don't forget. Absolutely, they don't forget. I agree, Andre Southgate. They do not forget, and that's why I try to be really careful with my words, not only with my kids, but with my spouse, with anybody that I come in contact with, because I don't really want people to experience the wrath of Andrea. There have been times when I have lost my cool, and not so much in the past, like 10 years, but there's been times where and I know I'm the type of person, I know that the words that I use have power. So I try my best to keep my tone down. I try to be cognizant of the things that I say, because even though people, remember when we were younger, they said, what is it? Dirt don't hurt. Wait, words don't hurt. What's that saying? I don't know. What Sticks and stones. Thank you, daughter. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I don't believe that. Sticks and stones, yeah, they can break your bones, but also words can hurt. Words can hurt you. They can crush you. If somebody says something belittling, how can you say that words don't hurt? They do. Words hurt. And so I try to make sure that, I don't say things to people that I would not want them to say to me. Now, if I am in a situation where I'm being disrespected, I just tell the person what I think, and I try to do it in a manner that does not take me out of my character. And that's that. I don't really comment again. Otherwise, I just, I say what I have to say, and I'm done with it. Done. Okay. So salute, Steve. Everybody's speaking. Miss Betty says she loves the people in the bushes. I know, I was in the bushes. I sure was in the bushes. Everybody's speaking. PMC, what's up, brother? Okay, I'm trying to make sure. Geeky Girls. Hey, April. Hey, April. Tell Jay I said hey. Geeky Girls Journal in chat, stopping by to show some love. Thank you for stopping by and showing some love. Make sure you tell that husband of yours, Jay, I said hey. And hopefully you all are still over there singing. I was in the bushes a little while ago. I've been making my rounds back. I'm coming back into this slowly, and I'm, jumping in to see people. So I may be in your bushes. Andre Southgate, Steve Gilmore, all 11 of you that are in the chat. Marlene, I was in your bushes the other day. I bet you didn't know I was there, but I was listening. So don't worry, Geeky Girl is there, everybody. She's there when she can be. Hi, Shantarman. How are you? Thank you for coming in. Hey, everyone. We never had to become the way they act in public is the way they act at home. They did get spanking. So, see, Shantarman, that's how my parents raised me. And I carried that over with my own children. My kids act like this in my house. Like, however they act in the house is how I expect them to act in public. And if they ever felt like they were getting a little frisky and getting a little sassy, I will tell them right then. I don't yell. I don't have to yell. I give them a look. You already know what the look is, Shantarman. I give them a look, and I'll tell them, hey, you better get it together. Get it together now. And I don't really have to say much more than that, because I've already established, what my expectations are. And like I said, I don't do it before every trip. I don't have to, because they already know what I expect. They know what my expectations are. So that's what I do for anybody who's watching. Set expectations early on, because like Shantarman said, the way they act at home is the way they're going to act in public. If you act one way at home and then expect them to act in public a different way, you're sadly mistaken, because this is what they come to expect from you. Oh, mom lets me do it at home. Mama's going to let me do it in public. So if they, want to act up, misbehave, in the house and you let them get away with it and you don't correct anything ever and you just let them run them up, what makes you think when they get out in public they're not going to do the same thing? Because they are. Like, and you can't, and you'll be more embarrassed than anything. Hey, sit down and be quiet. And I don't know what they might say to you because I've not had that happen, but if they flip the switch on you and then you're going to be upset because you didn't correct the behaviors earlier. So I agree, Shantire. Miss Betty says, let's see what Miss Betty said. My parenting was like most baby boomers, spankings. Yeah, that's what mine was. That's the kind of household I grew up in. Now I know better. I would do better. Would talk more and use other tactics. Parenting is tiring, and I was a single parent, and it was not easy. And it is not easy. I'm telling you all. I know I'm not. I've never been a single parent, but I'm telling you, I'm like, I'll be like, what time is it? Where's my husband? Husband, where are you? Like, when are you coming home? It's just when I'm tired because it's exhausting and. Oh man, they say like you can never really fully be prepared for parenthood. Like I feel like I learn something new all the time. I'm learning something. I think I have the standard down. Like I know how to do it, what to do, what to expect. But this is a journey. My kids are all different. They all have different personalities. So yeah, I agree, Miss Betty. When you know better, you do better. That's why we're having this conversation. So if anybody else wants to chime in and add and keep it up, I love this. I love it, you all. But yes, I believe the parents from my time frame, well, when I was younger, the parents of that time frame, they believed in spankings, whippings. Some of you might know that whippings. I mean, I was a friend to the a piece of the tree, and some of you might know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I don't know. I know some people are against that. I grew up with a very, I grew up and there was discipline, definitely correction. And I do respect my parents. Like to this day, I'm not going to say anything out of line to them. I don't curse around them. I'm not going to disrespect them. My mother can call me right now and ask me to do something within reason because I'm an adult now. But she can call me right now and say, and the other thing is my parents are respectful. So maybe that's the catch. I don't know how anybody else's parents respond to them, but my parents respect my space. They respect me as an adult. They respect me as a parent. So I don't really have those, that clash with my parents. So maybe it's easier for me, but I do respect them because that's how I was brought up. And it's in me. So my parents don't even to this day have to worry about me saying something coming out their mouth. Now I might joke around with them a little bit, but they don't know. We don't do that. No. And I expect the same for my kids too. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Miss Betty. And thank you everybody else who has been sharing retirement, everybody, Eagles, Jamie, thank you all. I think most people now do nothing and thinking that it will just pass and it only gets worse. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The bigger they get, the more parenting that they need and consistent discipline. Be consistent because kids will try to break that consistency. Yes, that's what I was saying. If it's a loophole, they will find it because think about it. You're going to test people's boundaries, right? You will test your parents' boundaries just to see how far they'll go or how far they'll let you go, right? I think that comes with being a kid and trying to figure out just how much your parents will take and just trying to figure out life in general, trying to figure out, what your boundaries are. And then as a parent, be correct to make sure they stay within these boundaries, right? Because it's not only to correct them, but it's also to make sure that they're safe. It's also showing a form of love because we're concerned about them and their well-being. So we have to have boundaries. We have to have forms of discipline, right? And everybody's form of discipline is different. I'm not picking one or the other. I'm just telling anybody who's watching how I do it. And, if you have a question, you can ask me in the comment section. If you're watching this replay, ask me in the comment section. I'll be glad to tell you what I do if you didn't hear it before. So Miss Betty said, if you break, they will never forget it either. Right. They do not forget it. They don't forget it. So you got to be consistent. That is true. You got to be consistent. And I try to stay consistent by being honest, right? I just try to be honest. And that way when they ask me, hey mom, but you said something, I'm like, yeah. Like sometimes, for example, say you tell your kids asked to do something, right? And then you might have to change. Say you say, okay, I'm gonna let you do it. And then say something happens where it's out of your control and whatever it is that they want to do changes. So in situations like that, now I'm like, listen, I had no control over it because, like I said, I can control what I can control. I can't control every situation, and neither can you. And I have a heart to heart like that. Listen, what would you have done if you were in my situation? And if they say something off the wall, that's because they're a kid. They don't, you know it because you're looking at it from a parent's perspective. And a lot of times they're looking at it from a child's perspective. So that's when I'm like, okay, listen, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you feel that way. However, this is how it's going to happen. No, you're not going to go. Or yes, you are. Whichever one I decide to. It's a no or a yes. I'm not wishy-washy. Yes or no. I'm going to pick one. Okay, they always looking for that opening. Yes, always. Like, I don't really know if anybody that was a child that didn't look for the opening. I mean, unless you were a goody two-shoe. Who in here was a goody two-shoes? Raise your hand. Let me see. Who? I know it wasn't Miss Betty because I know a little bit about Miss Betty. Who was a goody two-shoe? Raise your hand. I'm curious. Mr. Steve, were you? Wait, I don't think you were because I think you told that story about, before you gave your life to Christ. So I don't think Mr. Steve was either. I know I was not. I mean, I think that I was a good child. I think that I followed the rules for the most part. I did what my parents asked me to do, but I definitely tested the boundaries. I definitely wanted to see what I could do, what I couldn't do. I mean, I think that's, what people say. Okay, so Miss Betty says, I'm not saying to not be flexible, but just stay consistent. Yeah, I agree, Miss Betty. Hopefully I didn't make it sound like you said that. Hopefully you just kind of like bringing some clarity to it because I hope I didn't misconstrue what you were saying. But yeah, I agree. You do have to be flexible because situations are different and kids are different. But you also have to be consistent. And also, if you say no, mean no, right? If you say yes, mean yes. Unless it's one of those situations where you're like, I have to think about it for a minute. Like I've had times like that. Don't ask me right now. Ask me in a little while I've had time to think about it, or I've had time to talk to my husband about it. Because it may not be one of those questions I can answer right now. You want to go to Chick-fil-A? Okay, I know if I'm going to take you to Chick-fil-A or not. Yes or no. That's easy. But if you say I want to go spend the night over Fifi's house, and if somebody's named Fifi on here, I'm not talking to you. That's just an example. If I want to go stay over Fifi's house, well, I need more details. Where are you going? Who's going to be there? Are parents going to be there? What's happening? I mean, I'm asking everything. Everything. You all, I have a checklist. I'm asking all the questions. And then I'm going to ask my husband, what do you think about this? Do you think it's okay? What are your thoughts? Right? If you don't have a husband to ask or a significant other to ask, you make the decision. But think about all those things that, can help your child to have a great experience. Or think about the safety issue. Think about, do you know their parents? And I know I might sound old school because I am in a lot of ways. I couldn't spend the night over other people's house unless it was family members. So I don't really subscribe to that. Let me just go and spend the night over somebody's house. Do I know their parents? How long have I known them? What's their name? Where do they live? I want to know everything because I just don't want to have that on my heart. Like if something happens and then I didn't ask all the appropriate questions. And thank you all for sticking here with me. Oh, it's 6:48. We have 10 minutes. And I think after I read these comments, I'll let you all, if you have questions or anything that you need to do, just let me know. Shantarman, Mr. Steve says, come on, and everybody's welcome. Don't cost you a dime to be kind. Yes, come on in. Everybody, come on in. Thank you, Mr. Steve. It don't cost a dime. It's not going to even cost you a penny to come here because I'm not even monetized. So come on in, everybody. Come in. It's not going to cost a dime. It's not going to cost a penny. All it's going to cost you is your opinion and give it. You're free to get that. And if you don't feel like it, you don't have to. Just be a part of the conversation. Sit here, listen, sit in the bushes. Whatever you like to do, it's fine with me. How's everybody doing today? I forgot to ask that question. How's everybody doing today? Let me know in the comment section. Yelling in public isn't a bad thing, especially if your kids are doing the wrong thing. They need to be shake them up, and heard from their parents as well as their friends need to know it's not okay. Now, see, Andre, yeah, you know what? I should have prefaced this by saying, because when we say yelling at your kids in public, it's also not a one-size-fits-all thing, is it? Because say that, and this is, again, I think it's apples and oranges, but tell me what you all think about this. So when I say I don't yell at my kids in public, I'm not scolding them to the degree that I'm yelling and I'm being just outright belligerent or demeaning or just trying to crush their self-esteem or trying to say something to hurt them because I'm upset. It's more so me trying to correct the behavior and not yelling. But say, for example, your child is they're running towards the street, right? And I know everybody gets this, but I just want to make it real clear so that we all on the same page. Say that your child is running out into the street. Now, at that moment, you yell. I'm yelling, hey, get back. I'm yelling at everybody. I'm yelling at my child. In fact, I'm not only yelling, I'm running. Right? I'm running because I need to go try to get my child before they shoot out into the street, right? I might be yelling at the other person too. Stop. It just depends on the situation. So yeah. And also, if they're doing something inappropriate, Andre, I think I could see what you're saying. If they're doing something that needs correction at that moment, again, like I'm gonna have a real strong voice so that I'm not playing with you, but I'm not yelling. I'm not at the point where I'm like, no, I don't do that. I'm saying, listen, you know better. You know what I expect of you. Don't do this again. And again, my voice tone and the way that I speak and the way that whatever words I use, it depends on the situation. So Mrs. C says, chastise your kids at home so they will know how to act when they go out in the public. Yep, Mrs. C, I think at least 3 of us or more, or maybe everybody in here actually have agreed with what you just said. Chastise your kids at home. Well, Andre just brought up another point, so I think he did say agree with it. He probably does agree with this point, but also in a different situation, if you have to say something in public in front of your friends. I don't know, you all. I've seen some things, especially online lately, where I've seen some parents like what I thought, and I'm just saying, in my opinion, with whatever it was that I saw that they did, that parent did, I was like, I may have reacted a little bit differently than that, because I was just putting myself in their shoes. And I like to do that sometimes. When I see situations, I'll put myself in that person's shoes and try to say, wonder how I would have responded. And a lot of times I see people, instead of it being more of a correction, it looks like it's more of a I'm just trying to make you look foolish type of thing, or I'm going to show you who's boss, or more so, you're not going to talk to me that way because of who I am. And yes, that child is supposed to respect you. Please please make sure you all understand this. I know you all do. Whoever comes in, hey Kelly, hey girl. So yeah, understand that. Like, I don't think children, I think that, and see, my parents, when I was growing up, used to say, stay in a child's place. Do you all know what that means? Who understands that stay in a child's place? That's probably what Mr. Steve was talking about. Stay in a child's place. That's what I was told. That's what I did. Now I don't see that as much. I don't see that staying in a child's place. I'm just going to have to be honest. A lot of times I see where the parent is yelling, the child is yelling, they're going at it. And my whole thing is, I tell my kids, I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. I'm your parent. If God wanted me to be your friend, I would have been that, but I'm not. So my job is to, help you along the way. This is our journey together. And I'm telling you, you're not going to disrespect me. Like, we're not going to play that game. Don't disrespect me. I'm talking to you as a mother to a child. And I don't belittle my kids. I don't call them names that I don't need to say on here. But you all know what I'm talking about, what direction I'm going in. So for me, it's no reason why my child or my children should ever have to say anything disrespectful. And that's just me. That's my opinion. So let's see. Somebody said something. Oh, it was Shan Tyrant. It's so different now. When I was growing up, neighbors could beat our behinds. Yeah, Shan Tyrant. Was I in your generation? No, my parents brought the way. Listen, let me tell you all a little story. If we got out of line, they would tell my mom and she would spank our behinds. Yes, Shan Tyrant, I can remember that time frame. My parents, that was when it takes a village. I don't know if we really have that so much now. Maybe so. I just don't really know about that part of it, because for me, I instill in my kids values, principles, things that I think they should know. They have a solid foundation. I correct my kids, and I correct them so that I feel like nobody else has to jump in and correct them. But I know exactly what time period you are talking about because I lived in it. And I can remember when I went down the street one time, my mom told me specifically, and this is what I'm talking about with kids, they'll teeter-totter that line sometimes. She said, do not let anybody touch your hair. Don't let anybody take your hair. Now, I had my hair braided somewhat like it is right now, but I had beads. You all remember beads? I had little beads hanging from it, and I was just click, 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 moving my head back and forth. In fact, my daughters have beads right now, so I remember it really well, but I had the little beads and everything. Mom said, do not go down the street. I went down the street. I was playing with my friends, and one of my friends, well, she wasn't my friend. She just was a neighbor that lived down the street that put her hand in my hair and just unbraided my hair. And I didn't tell her to stop. So that was on me. I didn't tell her to stop. And I came back home and I had a braid. It was probably one braid, maybe two. Maybe. I tell you what, I learned not to ever do it again. I bet you every time I came home, my hair was the way it was when I left that house because I knew better. And that girl unbraided my hair and I came home. I didn't even want to go into our driveway because I was afraid. I was afraid of what might happen. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble. And if I knew how to braid my own hair, I probably would have braided it back up on the way there. But yeah. So my parents, they believed in that too. And then also, if your neighbors didn't get you behind, they would definitely say something or tell on you, hey, aren't you such and such child? And then they see them be like, oh yeah, I saw them. They were at such and such. I mean, it was no secrets being kept. They told the business. Yeah, they did. They told. So if my parents didn't know, there was somebody in the community that knew that would tell. Eventually, they could go be in a grocery store and then say, hey, you know what? I saw your daughter the other day. And they'd be like, huh, really? Where'd you see her at? And then here's this conversation. I'm like, ooh, I want to be a part of this conversation, but I find myself right there. So once you go through that one time with your parents, you don't try it again. Yes, please. High five. You're doing an awesome job. Thank you. Okay. Even, Miss Betty. Let's see what Miss Betty is saying. I love this, y'all. I love this. I could do this. I know. Oh, we only have 4 minutes left, y'all. I know I said I'm going to let you go. Even good kids give you problems. My oldest was considered a good child, but still problems. Man, because kids are kids, and kids, that's exactly why they need discipline and correction, because how are they going to know that it's a problem if you don't tell them? How are they going to know that they shouldn't be doing something if you don't tell them? Well, they do, a lot of times, you know when you're doing something wrong, right? You know when you're doing something wrong. You had an inner voice like, don't do that. And then you be like, I want to do it. And they be like, don't do it. And you're like, but I think I want to do it. And then you do it. And then now you got to pay the repercussion because you decided to do that particular thing. And so we're here. So then you have that one that was a good child that made a bad choice, that made a bad decision. So with me, when that happens with my girls, it's a teachable moment. It's a teachable moment. Hey, Miss Claiborne. I said, Miss Claiborne, Sister Claiborne, how are you doing? Hey, everybody. So, thank you for coming in here, Sister Claiborne. So we're talking about yelling at your children in public. We're talking about that. We're talking about whippings. We're talking about is yelling appropriate. And I said that, I think in the chat agrees that it kind of depends on the situation, but also we all believe that there should be some discipline, there should be correction. Don't let your child run rampant. I know I'm just catching Linda Claiborne up because she already knows this, but let me see what you all are saying. Come on in and join in on the conversation. That's right, Mr. Steve. Tell them, join in on the conversation. Okay, you all, it's almost 7 o'clock. I said I was going to let you go in an hour. Let me know if you want to leave right now in 2 minutes because I will shut this down, or if you want to talk for another 10, and then that's it. 10 minutes is a max because I know you all got to go. While I love having this conversation. I love having these conversations with you all. I know you got to go. I know you have things to do. So I'm trying to be respectful of your time. Miss Betty says my kids never did sleepovers ever. Me either. I think I did one. I had a sleepover one time. It was with somebody outside of my household, and I did. To be honest with you, I didn't enjoy it because I like the comfortability. Is that a word? I like the comfortability of being in my parents' home. It was familiar. I knew what to expect at my own house. I don't know what to expect at somebody else's house, which is what I tell my own kids. Yes. Can you give me 10 minutes? Okay, 10 minutes. 10, okay? All right, good job. Yeah, I'm one of those people, I just like to feel comfortable in my environment. If I don't feel comfortable, I'm out. The door is there. I'm going. Goodbye. Goodbye. Like, and I was like that as a child. So I felt really weird and uneasy in somebody else's house. And the person was a good person. It wasn't my mom. It wasn't my parents' house. It wasn't my family member's house. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what they might do. Is this person going to flip out? Is this person going to wash their hands when they cook? Are they going to blow their nose when they're cooking? In fact, I saw some of that. Are they going to, what's the routine of this household? I don't know. So I just was uncomfortable. And that kind of carries, that's probably why, that's not probably, that is why one of the reasons why I don't want my kids to stay with somebody else's house. Why? You got me. Right here, this house. We're fun. Okay. So Miss Betty said, my kids never did sleepovers ever. I just did not believe any kids could come over and sleep at my house. I just wanted to know what my kids are doing and where they are in the middle of the night. Yeah, Miss Betty, that's what I told my kids. I was like, if you all want somebody to spend the night, come over here. And we don't even do a lot of that either, because also I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for somebody else's child. Right now, kids have a lot of allergies. What if they have an allergy and the parent didn't tell me? And now this child is allergic to red dye 55 or whatever it is, red dye. You all might know about the peanuts or whatever. Now I have to do a whole nother just meal prepping. And you all know how I feel about cooking. Like, I do it because people have to eat, but I don't like to cook. So now that I got to make another meal because your child doesn't like it, I will do it, or I'll go buy them something. But I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. And maybe I'm saying that because I had multiple kids. If I had maybe one or two and they needed some extra curricular activities with other kids, and maybe I feel differently. But I tell my kids, I'm like, you all have built-in playmates. Why would you want to go somewhere else? Like, you got a whole tribe over here. Really, like, you got a whole tribe of people. So why do you need to go to a friend's house? Is my question. I don't know. I know they want to get away sometimes, but why? Yes, you have to be very careful these days when you're letting your kids spend the night at another kid's house. Yes, very, very careful. Kelly says, know your role. That's right, Kelly. I know my role real well, and they need to know theirs too. Mommy. It's a little gnat or something that's following me. Bandit with Author. Hi. I don't know if I've ever seen you here, but thank you for coming in. Author Butler. Hey, Geeky and Chat. Hey, how are you? Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Share this out and like it if you get a chance. Thank you for being here. Andre Southgate says, for kids, it's definitely not okay for them to yell at their parents in public. Laugh out loud. They will find out what's up for sure. Oh, no, that is a no to the no, right? No, do not. 2 minutes up. Oh, Miss Betty giving me the countdown. She said 2 minutes left. I just went over 2 minutes, Miss Betty, but I'm gonna stop. Yeah, so no, I'm stopping at 7:10. You all, are you all okay with that? Thumbs up if you are. Just let me know. If you're not, you gotta go. I understand that. But yeah, no, it is not okay to yell at somebody in public. It's not okay to yell at the parents in public. And I'm just thinking, Andre, it's okay if a child yelled at me in public. Ooh, I don't know. It might not be a good day. It might not be a good day. Like, do not yell at me in public. Don't yell. I don't even care. Child, adult. You know what? And I know the best thing to do is just, if it's another adult, you can walk away. If it's a child, come on, let's go. We gotta go right now. Hurry up. Let's go. Make it quick. Make it pronto. See, Miss Betty? Thank you, Miss Betty, the official timekeeper. I'm so glad you're here, Miss Betty, to do this, because I get off track. Okay, everybody's speaking. Let me go down. And child, please. Hey, child, please. How you doing? Because I know. I hope you're feeling well. And you know what I'm talking about. Everybody else might not, but I hope all is well. Child, please. How you doing? Let me know if you want to. If not, smiley face something. Just let me know. Hey, friend in chat. So glad I caught it live. I've been so busy. I bet you have. I'm sure you've been busy. I understand. I'm just glad that you came over. Thank you so much for coming on. Child, please says, I must be behind. I don't yell at mine, but I be this close. She said, I don't yell, but I'm this close. Everybody's saying, hey, child, please. Hey, Bud Files. Hey, glad to see you. Thank you for coming in. Oh, my goodness. Thank you all for this engagement. I mean, I'm fine with this 11. I think this is a great chill conversation. And thank you all for your input. It's working. It's wonderful. Somebody's going to learn something from this. And mine never did sleepovers either. No way. Now, mine don't do sleepovers either. I've never had that. And I try to have some of my kids persuade. I mean, they have really tried to be persuasive. Some of them, I'm like, no, that's not your mama. No. So child please is saying hi. Bud Father's saying hi. Everybody saying hi. Thumbs up, child please. Thank you, child please. So yes, you are. So I got 6 more minutes. Welcome to TNT Family Show. Hello, my friend. Hey, TNT. Thank you for coming in. Welcome, 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 welcome. So you're in Dreamer Alley. So TNT, tell me what you think about this. If I told everybody I was leaving at 7, but they gave me permission to get about 10 more minutes. So 7:10 is the cutoff. We have 6 minutes. Okay. So 6 minutes. Tell me what you think, TNT. The conversation is about yelling at your child in public. Do you think that's appropriate or not? Do you do it? If you want to share it, if you don't, you don't feel comfortable sharing it, don't. But just tell me if you think it's appropriate, or just do the poll. What do you think? Yes or no? And we know every situation is different, but it's just kind of a general conversation. Do you think it's disrespectful? Do you yell at them? Do you take them to another place? All right. Thank you, beautiful. I'm doing well. Hoping you are as well. I am doing well. Thank you very much, child. Please. I'm doing excellent. So thank you. You're welcome. You are very welcome, TNT. Steve Gilmore. Welcome to the TNT Family Show. Welcome, TNT, welcome TNT Family Show. Welcome to Geeky Girls Journal. And I saw Tamika say something. She said, "Hey, TNT. Hey." I do it before we go out. Oh, okay, good. So we got 5 minutes. Anybody else have anything to say? I said 10, didn't I? 5 minutes, y'all. Countdown. And my daughter is gonna count it down for me, and so is Miss Betty, because I know she is. Okay, thank you for doing it before you go out, TNT. I appreciate it. Everybody speaking, Tamika. All right, everybody speaking. Okay, so you all, what have we learned today? What have we learned, or not even learned? What have we discussed? Because you all, thank you very much for your input in this conversation. It's made this live very easy, and I got to tell you all, I was like, I had to take a deep breath before I jumped on here. I was like, should I? Shouldn't I? I don't know. I have not been on here for so long, but I also was like, I need to challenge myself. I need to jump back into it. So I just jumped in. I said, you know what? I'm going to set it. I had to run some errands, drop my daughter off, and I was like, I'm doing it. Whoever comes, whoever doesn't. And thank you all for coming in. I appreciate it. Child, please, says TNT. I threatened mine a little bit before we go out the car. No lie. So just a little bit. So you one of those that threaten it. Child, please, you do it before every outing, because I was telling the chat, talking to the chat earlier, and I was telling them that I don't do it before everything. I just say, listen, like, you know how to behave at home, and I expect you to be on your best behavior in the store. Don't come out here. Don't show out. Please don't do it, because you're not gonna be happy. Like, don't do it, please. I'm not gonna yell at them, but I give a look. Like, I just give a look, and my kids generally get that look. They know what that look means. So, child, please, welcome to TNT. Yeah, welcome to TNT Family Show says hello. Okay, you all, 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. Miss Betty, where are you? Where's the countdown, Miss Betty? So if that's it, I thank you all so much for coming in. Thank you for being a part of this live. You have made it the best live, and I do mean that. I'm excited to see everybody. Andre Southgate, I see you. I'm going to read your comment and child, please, before I get off of here. In fact, I'm going to do it right now because I have 3 minutes still. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I enjoyed your live. You did a very good, girl. Ooh. Thank you, child. Thank you, child. Because I'm telling you, I was just a little bit nervous, just a little bit, just a tad bit, because I hadn't been on live in a minute, and I enjoy doing lives because I really like the engagement with you all. But I also, because I hadn't done it in a minute, it's just kind of like, I hope I still got the juice. I hope I hope I still keep the flow going. But thank you. You all made it easy. You all made it very easy. So I mean, you get the kudos because you did it. I know you. If you all hear my kids in the background, sorry about that. Great topic. Good to hear different opinions. All parents have their own way of dealing with things. It's good to be open-minded, learn as you go. Yep, I agree, Andre, because also we learn from each other, don't we? I learned some things tonight. I learned that it depends. It depends on the situation. Like this is just kind of reiterated, actually, I said reiterate. It depends on the situation. You have to discipline your child. You have to correct them. I think we all kind of just agreed on that. Let's see. See you all soon, says Miss Betty, because she's counting me down. 2 more minutes left. I enjoyed the time with you. Thank you, TNT. Feel free to go back and replay it and look at some parts and see if you agree, disagree. See you later, Tamika. Have a good night, Tamika. Have a good night, everybody, because it's 1 more minute left. See you later. Child, please, says I know the feeling. Laugh Out Live is fun, but it is not that easy. Yes, and also just trying to figure out when I can do it. It's my problem. Like, when can I do it during the day? And I want to make sure I'm able to really be attentive to you all while I'm doing it. So that's just the difficult part for me, trying to figure out when to do it, how I'm going to do it, what time of day, when, all those things. So once I get that and I get on, I'm okay. So yeah, thanks again, you all, for coming. I appreciate you for being here. Have a good rest of the night, good rest of the week if I don't see you. Take care, like Child Please said. Everybody, like this video, share it out with somebody you think can use it, and those who you don't know, they may be able to use it, you just don't know it. And everybody's saying goodbye. And I got 1 more minute left. Mr. Steve said, hit that bell. Please hit that bell. Hit the bell, please. Thank you very much. And I'll see you all later. Have a great night. Is it okay? I still got a couple seconds left. 7:09. Anything else before we go? Smiley faces. Everybody have a good week. I'll be looking for you all. And I guess that's it. I'll see you on the next video. Have a good night.